for our City of Daly City regular City Council meeting on Monday, June 14, 2021. Pursuant to Governor Newsom's Executive Order N-29-20, members of the Daly City Council and staff will participate in this meeting via teleconference. Members of the public are encouraged to watch the meeting via live stream, City Council meeting live stream at https://bit.ly/DailyCityJUN14. And at this time, I will ask Ms. Melanie Ramos to share how the public can participate.
Thank you, Mayor. Public comment may be provided for specific agenda items, as well as the general public comment period under the public appearances oral communication portion of this meeting. In accordance with the Brown Act laws governing regular meetings, the City Council is not authorized to speak to or take action on any other items in this meeting. During the general public comment period and for each item on the agenda, staff will ask those members of the public who wish to comment to click the raise hand feature to raise your hand to speak on that agenda item. For those joining by phone, press *9 to raise your hand. Please note that members of the public must wait for staff's prompt in connection with each agenda item before using the raise hand function. Also important, staff will announce the name of the last person whose hand was raised upon calling for public comment, and that person will be the last verbal comment for the item. If additional speakers queue up after the last called speaker, the mayor may continue to allow public comment if time allows. Otherwise, public comment may be emailed to cityclerk@dalycity.org to be added to the record and shared with the City Council. When you hear your name called, staff will send you a request to unmute your microphone and you may begin speaking. Each person will receive a maximum of 2 minutes to speak and may only speak once. When your 2 minutes have been reached, we ask that you wrap up your comments. Speakers not in compliance with the Council's rules of decorum will be muted.
Thank you very much for that, Ms. Ramos. And now at this time, may we all pledge the flag. May we have roll call, please?
Mr. Buenaventura,
Present.
Dr. Rod,
Present.
Ms. Di Giovanni,
Present.
Mr. Sylvester,
Glenn Sylvester, present.
Ms. Manalo.
Present. Thank you, Madam Clerk. So now at this time, we have a presentation. There is a grant from, once again, our Daly City Public Library Associates for another wonderful thing for our community, for a laptop kiosk. And we have the Executive Director, Victoria Magbilang of the DCPLA.
Thank you, Mayor Manalo and council members. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Daly City Public Library Associates, I'd like to present a grant of $23,000. This grant is thanks to a generous donation from the Carl Gellert and Celia Berta Gellert Foundation, as well as donations from DCPLA members, donors, and sponsors to purchase a laptop dispensing kiosk and computers for the John Daly branch. Automated laptop dispensing kiosks not only securely store, recharge, and wipe clean computing devices, but make managing a self-contained automated checkout program or supplementing a manual program easy and empowering for all library visitors. The kiosk will enhance patron privacy and facilitate social distancing to comply with the mandatory safety standards to reopen our public libraries. We are excited about our libraries reopening to the public, appreciate library staff's dedication to keeping patrons safe, and are happy to be able to provide tools to assist in that process. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Executive Director Magbilang. It's always amazing to see the wonderful work that you guys continue to do and are really providing access to technology and bridging that gap in our community, especially hearing about such an innovative way of providing laptop kiosks. I mean, I think that's the first time I've heard of it where actually, it's a kiosk and it wipes everything clean. So that's pretty innovative, and it's wonderful to see that this is going to be coming forth in our Daly City Library. So thank you for your continued work as always, and we are excited to see this come into fruition. So thank you so much. At this time, I will open up comments to my colleagues.
Madam Mayor,
Councilmember DiGiovanni, please.
not enough words to say that you guys are just so, now we're innovative now. Now we're bringing it up to the way beyond in our library. It's an exciting year. As you said, we're gonna be reopening and we hope that the hours go longer, more employees, more people, very exciting. And with DCPLA and yourself, Ms. Victoria, this grant is incredible. Looking forward to maybe we do something exciting the day the kiosk gets there and gets in place and to see how this thing works. So thank you very much. And thank you for the generosity of the grant to the people that gave it to us and knowing that it will go to good use in Daly City and always looking out for us. Thank you to everyone, DCPLA. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments from my colleagues?
Mayor, I'd like to comment.
Vice Mayor, please.
I just want to thank you, Victoria, the DCPLA, the Gellert Foundation for providing the resources. When we talk about our libraries and giving them access to knowledge, and libraries are just more than just books, but it's about information. And this is another exciting and engaging way to gain more patrons, but also most importantly, to have access to technology. So thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm seeing no other hands raised at this time. So thank you so much for the continued work and partnership. We are so grateful, and I know our community is grateful as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are now moving on to proclaiming June 2021 as Pride Month in Daly City. We have LGBTQ Commissioner of San Mateo County, Crystal Cancino. Thank you for joining us this evening. Our proclamation for Pride Month, June 2021, whereas the City of Daly City recognizes and proclaims the month of June 2021 as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Queer Pride Month throughout Daly City, and whereas the City of Daly City observes Pride Month with a progress flag raising ceremony to honor the history of the LGBTQ liberation movement and to support the rights of all citizens to experience equality and freedom from discrimination. And whereas the Progress Pride flag adds 5 new colors to the rainbow flag, Black and brown stripes to represent marginalized LGBTQ communities of color, and blue, pink, and white stripes to represent the transgender pride flag, to create a widely recognized symbol of pride, inclusion, and support for social movements that advocate for LGBTQ people in society. And whereas all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights, LGBTQ individuals have had immeasurable impact to the cultural, civic, and economic success of our country. And whereas the City of Daly City is committed to supporting visibility, dignity, and equality for LGBTQ people in our diverse community. And whereas while society at large increasingly supports LGBTQ equality, it is essential to acknowledge that the need for education and awareness remains vital to end discrimination and prejudice. And whereas this nation was founded on the principle that every individual has infinite dignity and worth, and that the City of Daly City calls upon the people of this municipality to embrace this principle and to work to eliminate prejudice everywhere it exists. And whereas celebrating Pride Month influences awareness and provides support and advocacy for Daly City's LGBT community and is an opportunity to take action and engage in dialogue to strengthen alliances, build acceptance, and advance equal rights. Now, therefore, I, Justin C. Manalo, Mayor, and the members of the City Council of Daly City hereby proclaim June 2021 as Pride Month in the City of Daly City in support of the LGBTQ community and recognizing all LGBTQ residents whose influential and lasting contributions to our neighborhoods make Daly City a vibrant community in which to live, work, and visit. And now I'd like to present this over to Crystal Cancino. And if you'd like to say some words.
Thank you, Mayor Manalo. Thank you, the rest of City Council. All of you have been so supportive these past 2 years that we've invited Daly City to come and raise that flag. And we really use your city as an example of our leaders, not just giving us a seat at the table, but also being supportive of our asks. And so I'm gonna make it really short because I know it's probably gonna be a really long meeting, but I have a quote that I want to read from one of our LGBTQ advocates, activists. And her quote is, "Equality means more than passing laws. The struggle is really won in the hearts and minds of the community where it really counts." And I just feel that so much with Daly City. The fact that all of you as a community have been so supportive, really being out there, being the trailblazer to not only try to get these flags raised, but also just being supportive of the community in general. This flag it really shows progress. And I kind of want to just say a little bit of why it's important. Whenever we look at that flag, it not only gives us pride about our community, but also pride in ourselves that it is safe to be who we are. And so I just want to say that, you know, I don't ever have to worry about the place where I was born, Daly City, that I never have to worry if I'm going to be supported by my city, by my community in Daly City. And again, thank you so much. The rest of the commission also thanks you. And I'm sure that the community also thanks you as well. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Crystal. I just want to say thank you for your leadership. You know, it was Crystal that had reached out last year in 2020 to see if we would raise the pride flag in the city of Daly City, and also once again reached out to see if we could put the progress flag, pride flag up, which is, you know, really important because we are here in a city of diversity, and so glad to do so, and so much work ahead as well. But we will continue to be in solidarity, and we will continue to be here. And so so honored to know that you were born in Daly City. That's amazing. So representing there. So thank you so much. And at this time, if there are any of my colleagues that like to say some words, I offer the floor.
Madam Mayor,
Councilmember Giovanni.
I'll make it short, but Commissioner, you continue to amaze me. There are many milestones that still need to be met. And to think that you have that support, only knowing that we've got this far, but we need to keep going, and that progress that even happened this time, it need to continue to grow, and it won't stop here. So there's many things we need to work on, senior housing for the LGBTQ community, just to briefly, but know that you have supporters and people that really want to be there with sincerity. So do the work and not just talk the talk like you were talking about. And the fact that you said you feel safe, that is beautiful, because so much of that is that. And especially our transgender community and those that are trying to still identify themselves and find their place, that they need to know that this support is here for them, because it's not so, as we know, in other places. So we need to continue to be strong here and then bring it outward to everywhere else. So thank you so much, Commissioner. Look forward to it. And please thank everyone else for us. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. And I see Vice Mayor Das Magual.
Yes, thank you, Crystal, for representing. When I see that the Progress Pride flag, it matters a lot to me and our community, just because representation matters. And I think by doing this gesture, it really shows like our commitment to an inclusive community, but also seeing like those that have that describe themselves and identify themselves as queer, that they could see themselves in the representation, and that knowing that pronouns matter and language matters, symbols matter, but it's also a chance to really talk about like the struggle continues, because the struggle came out of riots, and we still have a long ways to go in terms of educating people. So I just want to say thank you to you, the commission, and we just want to represent for the whole community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. And I want to say thank you so much for being here this evening with us and for accepting this proclamation, Crystal.
Always. You guys have our support no matter what.
Thank you. And at this point, I will now move on to the agenda. Prior to us approving the minutes, I do have some changes. I'd like to ask the city clerk to take note of this. Further down on city council remarks, I'd like to ensure that we spell cultivate labs with a K instead of a C. And then also with I wanted to thank the partners, the Filipino Bayanihan Resource Center, Cultivate Labs, and what we need to make sure is in here is the Filipino Mental Health Initiative of San Mateo County. And also wanted to make sure that I did acknowledge the participation by staff, but also the participation I mentioned the two colleagues that joined me for that event, which was Council Member Ray Bonaventura, and then also Vice Mayor Das Magual. And then lastly, it wasn't only the participation of the staff. I wanted to mention that they also supported the event, which could not happen without their support. And so I wanted to make sure that they were acknowledged with their support to the event that really was a fundraiser to have a program in regards to the anti-Asian violence. So those are the changes that I'd like to have make sure before we approve the minutes.
This is Annette Hipona, City Clerk. I acknowledge those changes. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk, for those changes. And without any more changes to unless there are any changes, I move to approve the minutes with the adopted changes that the Madam City Clerk has acknowledged. Do I have a second? Thank you so much, Council Member Bonaventura. And all in favor say aye.
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 Thank you very much. Now moving on to the approval of our consent agenda. Are there any items to be pulled on the consent agenda, or do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Hold on for necklace.
Madam Mayor,
Councilmember Di Giovanni.
may I pull item number 6 only?
Okay, item number six is being pulled. Any
No.
other items from my colleagues? Seeing none, with the exception of item number 6, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I have a first,
Second?
I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you very much. Item number 6, approving the subdivision improvement agreement, the approval of the vacation of various public easements, approval of license agreement between the City of Daly City and the Housing Authority of the County of San Mateo and the MP Midway Associates, ILP, and approval of the parcel map sub-05-19-14055 Midway Bayshore Phase 1. And do we have staff that will be presenting on this, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor. This is Richard Chu, Director of Public Works, and I can give a brief presentation on this.
Thank you, Director Chu.
Yes, the Midway Village Housing Complex redevelopment is a new development of 555 affordable residential units. It consists of 20 for-sale townhomes, 49 for-rent townhomes, 486 rental apartments, in addition to a childcare center. The proposed development is proposed to be done in 4 phases. The first phase is what's before you tonight, and that's 147 affordable rental units. At the June 8th, 2020 City Council meeting, the City Council approved the general plan amendment, the major subdivision, design review, also the Sustainable Communities Environmental Assessment, and the mitigation monitoring and reporting program for this project. The tentative map for the Midway Village Bayshore is set to expire on June 8th, 2020. The subdivider has requested approval of the parcel map prior to completion of the subdivision improvements associated with the project. And so in order to ensure that the improvements are the improvements that need to be built by the subdivider, the California Subdivision Map Act requires the city to execute a subdivision improvement agreement with the developer. Basically, it bonds the improvements that's needed for the subdivision. This first phase of the project will be built where the existing Dave Rowe Park is. So the park will be closed as a result of this first phase. And then towards the end of the project, closer to phase 4, after phase 4 is completed, that is when a parcel will be provided back to the city for a park. The subdivider has also requested that the city abandon various public utility easements within the project area. The existing public utility easements are within the footprint of the proposed buildings of the project, and so they need to be abandoned for the financial requirements from the applicant. The approval of the lease agreement grants the city a temporary license for access, operations, maintenance, repair, and replacement of activities to the existing storm drain line in which the easements are being abandoned. The license agreement will be terminated upon completion and approval of the relocated storm drains as determined by the city engineer. The attached subdivision improvement agreement requires MP Midway Associates, LP, to complete all subdivision improvements, including but not limited to streets, sidewalks, lighting, landscaping, utilities, and joint trench, all at the developer's sole expense. The existing public utilities easements, which is the public access easement, roadway easements that will be vacated, will be replaced with easements within the new private roads. The easements offered to the city would be accepted subject to completion of the improvements. Those easements are public access easement, emergency vehicle access easement, and the public utility easements. All the streets within the subdivision will be privately owned and maintained. Water service, which is being provided by the Department of Water and Wastewater Resources, will be an on-site water system, which will be private with master meters located at Schwerin and Martin. The sanitary sewer system, which is under Bayshore Sanitary District, will be a public sewer system. And then, as I mentioned earlier, they will be required to relocate an existing storm drain lines that are 36-inch and 72-inch. Those will continue to be public once they're relocated and completed. The subdivision improvement agreement and the parcel maps have been reviewed, and they've been found to be in substantial conformance with the tentative map and the Subdivision Map Act, the Daly City Municipal Code. So the adoption of the resolution will approve the execution of the subdivision improvement agreement and the recordation of the parcel map. All the fees will be paid at the time of building permit. So in conclusion, it is recommended that the City Council adopt a resolution to 1, approve the Midway Village Bayshore Phase 1 Subdivision Improvement Agreement, 2, approve the vacation of existing public utility easements, public access easements, and roadway easements. 3, approve the license agreement for the access, operations, maintenance, repair, and replacement activities to the existing storm drain line. And finally, approve the parcel map SUB-05-19-14055 Midway Bayshore Phase 1 and accept all public access easements, emergency vehicle ingress and egress easements, and the public utility easements subject to completion of those improvements. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Director Chu, and your explanation on this item. Councilmember Di Giovanni, at this point, I think you pulled the item if you have any further questions.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Director Chu. I just have a couple of questions. I realize this is just a Phase 1, correct? And that this has nothing to do with the remediation of the other areas. Is that correct?
This is just Phase 1, you're correct. And in terms of the remediation, that's something that the county is responsible for, and they've been doing that research and working with the county health department to address that issue.
Sure, and then each phase will probably be coming to council separately?
That's correct.
Okay, that's good, because I spoke to someone, and then you guys who's doing the communication with the Bayshore School to the superintendent. Is it Mid-Penn that's been in communication?
Yes, Mid-Penn
is the superintendent.
Mid-Penn is the developer for the county.
Correct.
They've done a lot of outreach throughout the community, and I'm sure that the Bayshore School is included in that. Yeah,
I knew they were included, but as a recent for the Phase 1, as an update, just to make sure that Ms. Pittman, the superintendent, wanted to make sure we address their issues, that it gets out to the PTO and the PTA ongoing with communications, because some of them were on the webinar, as you know, for the DTSC toxics. So, but anyway, so then directly with the Mid-Penn, but thank you for the outreach. And then as each phase comes, I'm sure there'll be more questions ongoing, because I know that this site doesn't seem to have the problems. Is that true, Mr. Chu, as ongoing sites? Is that correct?
Well, this site is unique in the sense that it's a large project, and what they've decided to do was to do it in phases. So you're correct in the sense that each phase they'll be preparing a parcel map and/or final map to come to the city for processing.
Okay, so we'll be able to have those discussions with the remediation at that time.
Yeah,
I hate to put you on the spot. Sorry to put you on the spot, Director.
No. Obviously, they have to get clearance from the county before they can move forward with the any proposed development.
Correct.
For the site.
Okay, thank you. So I think that was probably it for now, because now we're just going to phase one. So I appreciate that. And thank you, Madam Mayor. And thank you, Midpen, and whoever else is on the call. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Giovanni and Director Chu for that. I will say thank you for keeping us apprised on what the next steps are, especially in the Bayshore community, and that there needs to be continuity. And it's great to hear that there has been feedback from community members, and that will continue to happen. So thank you very much. At this point, is there a motion to approve this item?
Motion to approve.
I have a first.
Second.
I have a second by Vice Mayor. At this point, may we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Buenaventura? Mr. Buenaventura?
Aye.
Thank you. Dr. Rod?
Aye.
Ms. G. Giovanni?
Aye.
Mr. Sylvester?
Glenn Sylvester, aye.
Ms. Manalo?
Aye. Thank you very much. Now we're moving on to our item number 12, public hearings. Second substantial amendment to the 2019-2020 HUD Consolidated One-Year Action Plan to reflect allocation of CDBG CV3 funds. And we have Ms. Silligan that will be presenting to us this evening. Please, you have the floor.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council members. In March of 2020, Congress enacted the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, also known as the CARES Act. This act provided a total of $5 billion in community development block grant funds, which I will refer to as CDBG. These additional CDBG funds, designated as CDBG CV, are to be used to prevent, prepare for, and respond to the coronavirus pandemic. In June of 2020, the city received its first tranche of CDBG CV funds in the amount of $632,285. At that time, the council approved the funds to go towards program administration and rental assistance. We contracted with the Daly City Partnership to administer the rental assistance program. In the fall of 2020, the city was notified of an additional tranche of CDBG CV funds, which we refer to as CDBG CV3 to distinguish it from the first tranche. So the allocation of the CDBG CV3 funds in the amount of $1,044,763 is what the second substantial amendment to the 1920 action plan is about. Okay, so a total of 20% of the CDBG CV3 funds can be used for program administration and to cover staff costs needed to carry out oversight and administration of the CDBG3 funding. So staff has met with the CDBG Advisory Committee on multiple occasions to discuss the allocation of CDBG CV3 funds. Possibilities for the use of these funds have included assistance for small businesses, public services, mental health, transitional housing, and rental assistance. At the most recent meeting with the CDBG Advisory Committee on May 6, 2021, staff met with Mayor Jesslyn Manalo and Vice Mayor Rod Dawal and presented a proposal submitted by Daly City Partnership, which I will refer to as DCP. So DCP's proposal is attached to the staff report, and the proposal consists of 3 eligible activities. The first is rental assistance, the second is food distribution, and the third is mental health services. In terms of rental assistance, DCP, since the beginning of the pandemic, has distributed over $1.9 million in rental assistance from multiple funding sources. These sources include county funding, as well as city funds, including CDBG-CV, which I alluded to earlier, and home tenant-based rental assistance. And DCP has helped over 650 households with rental assistance. As you know, the governor signed SB 91, which provided eviction protection and tenant relief to help people affected by COVID-19. So currently the eviction moratorium is set to expire on June 30th, 2021. And it is anticipated that when that expires, there will be a lot of people seeking and needing rental assistance. The state does have a rental assistance program to which Daly City residents may apply, but we feel that it's critical that we have a rental assistance program at the local level. There are a variety of factors that have contributed to the state program not being as accessible to Daly City tenants and landlords. In terms of the proposal for food distribution, DCP, prior to the pandemic, provided 100 units of food per week, and currently they are providing over 1,500 units of food at its food bank, which I believe is open 4 days a week. The CDBG CV3 funds would enable DCP, my light went out, well, to continue meeting the increased demand for the units of food. Also, there's a potential for even a greater increase as other distribution sites in the city are sunsetting. In terms of the mental health services proposed, DCP currently offers a mental health services program in partnership with the Jefferson Elementary and the Jefferson High School districts. This program is currently at capacity and there is a waiting list. As we know, COVID-19 has presented an increased demand for mental health as a result of social isolation and stresses related to health and financial impact of COVID-19, and the CDBG CV3 funds would help to increase, would help to address the increased demand for mental health. So in summary, the proposed second substantial amendment consists of $208,952 for program administration and $835,811 in funding for DCP. This funding would consist of $420,810 in direct rental assistance to tenants, as well as $140,000 for 2 bilingual caseworkers, because you're going to need more staff in order to efficiently and effectively process the request for rental assistance. $120,000 for mental health services to hire a mental health professional, $65,000 for a food distribution coordinator, and $90,000 for a COVID-19 service coordinator to help with related program delivery costs. So the public notice for this public hearing and the proposed second substantial amendment was published in the Examiner and posted on the city's website. To date, we have received no written correspondence or verbal comments from the public regarding the proposed second substantial amendment. With that, staff is proposing that council conduct a public hearing to obtain comments on the proposed second substantial amendment as laid out. Then allocate the funds for the various CDBG CV3 activities and approve the proposed second substantial amendment to the one-year action plan. Staff is available to answer additional questions you may have. And we also have Mike Stansel, the Executive Director for DCP on hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan, for your presentation. And I think at this time, I will open and close. Let's recommend to open or close the public hearing to see if there's any comments from the public. So Ms. Leilani Ramos, are there any, well, at this point, motion to open the hearing.
So moved.
Okay, I have a first
Second.
and the second. And then now, Ms. Leilani Ramos, is there anyone in the queue for public comment?
For those members of the public who wish to make a comment on item number 12, please use the raise hand feature to speak on this agenda item. There are no raised hands, Mayor.
Okay, motion to close public hearing, please. Thank you.
Motion to
moved.
close.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
I second.
I would be like, jinx, no. But thank you. Thank you so much. We have closed the hearing. And at this time, you know, I do want to share that I am on the committee with Vice Mayor, and staff has done extensive work to be in communication with, you know, DCP, Daly City Community Partnership, and the work they're doing on the ground, right? I think they have seen firsthand what the pandemic and has done and within the community in regards to the needs, as you know, continuously around rental support, food insecurity, and mental health support. You know, we understand that we do hear that the program may be ending and there'll be anticipated residents that may need assistance as far as renters. And so I think the step in moving towards having bilingual caseworkers, and I believe it's in Spanish, and if I recall, Cantonese. Is that right? Yeah, so Spanish and Cantonese, that need. Thank you, Director Stansel, Executive Director Stansel, for that. I was trying to remember off the top of my head, and so yes, Spanish and Cantonese, but we know how language access is so important. And especially in having, you know, families remain in their homes that, you know, especially that have children, knowing that they have to move or not have a place during the school year. It's all those indications is something we don't want to see in our community. And we've continued to see how your lines right there across the street from City Hall have continued, and to continue to be an access point for those families in need is crucial. And then lastly, with mental health services, this is something I know Vice Mayor and I are deeply aligned with, to see that there's going to be another staff member on board with mental health. I mean, we know that this is so crucial. It's not my turn. So crucial in regards to ensuring the health and well-being of our community members. And I'm happy to see that staff has worked with DCP in order to make sure that this is a priority. So that is where I'm at. I want to really appreciate all the work that our housing staff has done, you know, Ms. Milligan, and also with Betsy, Ms. Obel, for doing the hard work on this. And also, we can't do it without DCP on the ground. And so that's just where I'm at. I mean, I think these are, you know, the areas of need in our communities. And I want to just say thank you. And at this time, I will now open the floor.
Madam Mayor, may I?
Councilmember DiGiovanni.
Yeah, let me first begin by, Mr. Stansel, I know that you guys have really gone through some really incredible stress and really have helped this community beyond, above and beyond. And here tonight, at least, this is a great proposal, and looking forward to maybe we might have to keep growing or whatever we have to do to support. It's very important that you have that. You are our lifeline to that community. I see it, as the mayor referred to the long lines, phone calls from people in the community asking, and I'm giving them the Daly City Partnership number, because you're number one. Ms. Linnell, Ms. Betsy, our staff, everyone there working together, and city manager and everyone, because it is crucial. And then when you brought up the mental health part, Ms. Linnell, and you said there was a waiting list. How long is that? How long have people been on a waiting list for mental health?
Mike?
We can have close to 35 people who will be served immediately once we have the contract put into place, and it allows us to double our reach. We do about 150 individual sessions, so 150 people close each month. So this would allow us to do about 300 per month. So about 25 to 30 people would be immediately served within about 30 days of contract being finalized.
Okay, so in order for us to get them off that waiting list, and I'm sure there's going to be more, do you feel like this is enough at this time?
It's never enough. I think that one of the biggest concerns we have is we've been dealing with sort of the obvious issues for people, rental assistance, food, the things that you can see. This mental health crisis that we had even before the pandemic was a big concern and large enough already. So I think this is a great way to start, and with partnership with the city, the county, we can look at additional funds and ways to finance. But I think that is a great start for us to start this way by doubling our footprint. I think that with mental health, it's a challenge. There's always not enough, but we're up to the task.
Yeah, that's what I figured. And then with COVID, and now if we expires on the June 30th, that has just created more stress, I know, in the communities. So we don't know if it's going to be an extension or where it's going to be at with our state legislators. So we cannot bank on that. And I agree, we have to be prepared to help our community, so they can come straight. I like the idea, Ms. Linnell, like you brought up, like when to send out the notice of the state being able to get rental assistance. It is locally, as Daly City Partnership, that it's more accessible, friendlier, more comfortable for our community to come and know that they have a place to come and get their needs met. And I know that in the future, we'll be discussing with the American Recovery Act. And I don't know, I know there's specific things we have to use it for. So whatever we can, I know it's very clear and defined, but maybe in the future when we get there shortly, maybe in July, we can address some more issues, and that maybe Daly City Partnership and Ms. Linnell and Ms. Betsy and city manager and probably the subcommittee can look at as well, to look into this and see what other needs, because we have lost a lot of families, and it's really heartbreaking to think that they had to move, and I don't even know where some of them went. That's the heartbreaking part, because if they can't afford to live here, where are they going to go? Because everything is so expensive. So that's something that maybe at some point we'll have to work on as well, because it is extremely expensive, these rentals, and something's got to be done to have people stay. We don't know where they've gone, and according to Faith in Action as well, you're not gonna be able to track all these families, and we're gonna lose our beautiful diversity. But I thank you for the work. I think the subcommittee, I thank everyone, the staff. And if this is a step forward to help in what is needed, and if we can get this in place, it'll start when? When will it start, Linnell?
As soon as we are able to execute an agreement.
Okay. Which hopefully.
And then Mike can hire his staff.
Great, fantastic. So this is a step in the right direction. I know we need more. Probably going to grow out of that building. I don't know where we're going to go, but we have to go somewhere. I don't know, go up. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see how we have to go. But we need to be there for you're the umbrella. You're the umbrella that I always see for this. So, and great leadership by you, by the way, and your staff. They've been very kind to the community, extremely kind under extreme circumstances. You as well, Ms. Linnell and Betsy, appreciate it as well. Thank you very much. And thank you to the city manager, city attorney as well, because I know you guys have worked on this as well. So appreciate it. The partnership is amazing. Great name of it, isn't it? I like that Daly City partnership. But thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you all. And let's get our healthy mental health and physical health and feed the people and get them back on their feet, get to provide jobs and put people back together because it's a responsibility that we take very seriously. I know I do. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. At this time, I will hand it over to Vice Mayor Das Magwal, who is on the committee with me for any commentary. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I just want to echo my colleagues and just say thank you to Linnell, Betsy, Mike. Thank you. I reached out to you earlier this month to help one of my friends, and thank you for that. And I just want to say, like, those three areas of rental assistance, food distribution, and mental health are key areas. Pre, current, and post-pandemic. And I think this is just the beginning of something. We're just seeing the tip of the iceberg. I know many kids that were able to go back to school and they came back home. You know, there was a lot of mental health issues that they're going through.
Yeah.
Anxiety. And we're all gonna have to kind of step up and see how we can provide more services and reinforcements and engaging our community to do so, because we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but you know, with going through the pandemic, there's going to be more issues that are going to be involved, like the ramifications of it. And we're there, right there beside you, Mike, and the Daly City Partnerships. And I just want to say thank you for everything that you do for the community, feeding them, taking care of them, and you know, try to make the most out of the most worst situation in 100 years. Okay, and so thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you very much. There are any comments from my colleagues?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Thank you. So I think this is a really good job done by the subcommittee and the Linnell and the allocation and the recognition of the three major issues I think we were facing. So I think you guys did a great job addressing it all. The one thing I want to raise again, and I want to make sure this is on the radar so that it's never lost in the discussion. And I raised it at the last time when we talked about this rental assistance and the need to make sure that we remove some of the barriers that seem to affect the Black and Brown community, some of the members of the community who are really struggling. And because some of the requirements to get these grants or this rental assistance I thought was too onerous, and I raised it before, and I want to make sure that it continues to be on the administrators of these funds to make sure that things like requiring a bank statement or having a bank or some of these barriers that not everybody because of their situation have. And so I just want to make sure the assistance goes to the people who need it and that there are not these barriers that still exist, and that we try as much as we can to remove them, to recognize them, and to see how these can affect what we're all being very conscious of social justice and systemic racism. And I just want to make sure that's still at the forefront. Mike, I'm sure you're going to do a great job of doing that. I see you nodding your head. I've not met you before, but I know you're in a good place to really do some good work. So thank you.
Can I respond?
Please do. Thank you. Thank you for that, Councilmember Buenaventura. And now, Ms. Sullivan, please.
Yeah, Councilmember Buenaventura, thank you so much for your comment. I really appreciate it. At the same time, we are trying to reduce the barriers as much as we can, but at the same time, HUD requirements kind of limit what we can or cannot ask for. So I just wanted to present that. HUD has provided waivers, so there is this, for the home TBRA, households can self-certify their income, but for other sources of funding, they haven't been as relaxed in terms of what they need to require for income documentation. But I do appreciate your comment very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. If there's no other comments at this time from my colleagues, I am looking to see if there's any hands raised. I don't see no hand raised. So at this time, I move to approve this item.
Second.
And may we have roll call, please?
Mr. Buenaventura,
Aye.
Dr. Rod,
Aye.
Ms. DiGiovanni,
Aye.
Mr. Sylvester,
Glenn Sylvester, aye.
Ms. Manalo.
Aye. Thank you very much. I really appreciate everyone's hard work on this and for your work with the Daly City Partnership and all your staff and your forthcoming staff. And one thing I do want to ask if there's any way to share the job announcement so that we can share it with the community in regards to mental health, the bilingual caseworkers, because we do know that there are a lot of folks looking for jobs as well. And then maybe we could share that with our local community. So thank you very much.
Absolutely, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you for all your work. Thank you so much. Now we are moving on to item number 14. Item number 13, jumping ahead. City Proposed Urban Water Management Plan 2020. Is it 2020 or 2020?
Yes.
Okay, it's for 2020.
Yes.
Okay.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. Every 5 years, the city is required to pass the Urban Water Management Plan, which includes the Water Contingency Plan as well. And our staff, along with our consultant, has worked to get it to this point to present to you tonight. And we do have our consultant from Brown and Caldwell is here tonight. Our Chief of Operations, Greg Krause, along with Bill Feist and Marissa Serrata from Brown and Caldwell have worked tirelessly to get us to this point tonight prior to the July 1 deadline. So Bill is here tonight to present. I believe it requires the opening of a public hearing. I might check with the city attorney on that, but I think we need to open the public hearing, give the presentation, take questions, and then close the public hearing. But Bill Feist is here, and turn it over to our consultant right now, if that's okay.
Sure. Thank you so much, Director Piccoletti.
But do we need to open the public hearing?
Oh, yes, we do. Well,
Okay.
no, actually,
After the presentation?
After the presentation, I'll open the public hearing. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. Feist.
Mayor Manalo, Vice Mayor Dowse, council members, Director Piccoletti, and staff. I'm Bill Feist with Brown and Caldwell. I'm being assisted by Marissa Teruta, who is our project manager for this project. And we're going to do a brief presentation on the urban water management plan. I think Marissa will start now to share screens and share slides. So the next slide, please. So why do you do this? Well, you're required by state law to every 5 years to prepare an urban water management plan and must meet certain state requirements. I'll talk briefly about the overall requirements and then in particular about the Senate Bill X7-7, which defines conservation goals that you must achieve. It's a 20% reduction from your baseline water use by 2020. Next slide, please. So the Urban Water Management Planning Act goes back almost 40 years now. It falls upon agencies that serve more than 3,000 customers or 3,000 acre feet a year. You're definitely in that category. And you must submit the report to the State Department of Water Resources every 5 years. The act has undergone substantial modification since 2015, and DWR provides guidelines for the urban water suppliers, which include required components and a DWR checklist. Next slide, please. I'm not going to read all these off, but there are some key ones here for new requirements for your 2020 plan. By the way, it's a 2020 plan. We're doing it in 2021. That's in compliance with the state schedule that they establish because they want you to capture your water use in the year 2020. So the Urban Water Management Plan now includes a simplified lay summary. It increases the period where you have to think about managing water with reduced water supplies from 3 years to 5 years. It includes some aspects of energy analysis and seismic risk. It includes a 5-year drought risk assessment, and it also includes additional components to what's called your water shortage contingency plan. Marissa, next slide. So very briefly, I think you're all familiar with this. The light blue represents the area you serve. Next slide. Your population there, as you are well aware, Daly City is a member of BAUSCA, Bay Area Water Supply and Conservation Agency. And BAUSCA takes care of the modeling of population growth so that there's a uniform model of growth used by all agencies. Their 2020 projection or number for Daly City was a little over 112,000. 25 years out, 2045, they're showing 13% growth to about 127,000. And currently you have about a little bit over 23,000 connections. Connection basically is a water meter. Next slide. So your water, your system water supplies have not changed since this last was done in 2015. You purchase water through the SFPUC, 4.292 million gallons per day on an average annual basis. And that's assuming that that is a non-drought year. You're very fortunate. Daly City's past leaders also kept a groundwater component in your water supply, and that's 3.43 million gallons per day. Beyond the potable water, Daly City has been for many years into recycled water. That the possibility for recycled water may be expanded. There's a project in Colma that's on the SFPC future projects list for another something over a billion gallons a year. You wonder, well, how does recycled water fit into our potable water supply? Well, most of the water in Colma goes to irrigate the cemeteries. If you irrigate the cemeteries with recycled water, they're no longer pumping groundwater, and that water may be available for potable consumption. Next slide. This chart shows your historical and projected water demands, the red line. The blue, the light blue represents the groundwater resources. You'll notice going forward beyond 2020, that number is a constant value. Assuming you're through prudent management, you'll have that amount available. Similarly, you have the purchased water from SFPUC, the lavender maybe, it's lavender on my screen. Anyway, shows the recycled water and what you've been doing so far, which is quite admirable, and with the possibility of doing a lot more as you make more investment. Next slide, please. There's also a component in here of water supply reliability, drought realities. There are two scenarios we looked at. The state has adopted and is working on a Bay Delta plan, and depending on how that plan is adopted, whether the plan is adopted or not, the red line is your projected demand. That line stays constant. If the Bay Delta plan in its current form is adopted, it will divert more water to the environment and less water will be available for San Francisco diversions. So looking out to 2045, the Daly City could have some shortfall. You're more fortunate than many other agencies on the peninsula. This is on the order of perhaps 500,000 gallons a day. Next slide, please. So getting back to SBX 7-7, this shows an incredibly good performance by Daly City residents. The goal that you were supposed to meet is 124 gallons per capita per day. Daly City is among the lowest water using cities per capita in the state of California. You're already in 2020 achieved 49 gallons per capita per day. So you've greatly exceeded the target goal, and your residents over and over again have demonstrated that they do a really careful, they're very efficient and very careful in their use of water. Next slide, please. In conjunction with BAUSCA, you're also looking at opportunities for future water savings. And the DMMs are demand management methods. And the city actively has a number of water conservation programs going. You're also benefiting from what we call passive water savings in the industry. You have plumbing codes that are more efficient, but as important, so that affects the gallons per flush in your toilet, the gallons per minute from the faucet at your sink. But you also have an added benefit is people's appliances, particularly dishwashers and clothes washers, age out. People replace them with new models, and the new models are much more efficient. So you're getting some passing savings going forward, and the planning that we're doing here captures that. Next slide, please. So a key element of the urban water management plan is your water shortage contingency plan. It's required that you prepare one and adopt one, and this is included in the resolution for the urban water management plan. If you want to dig into the details, Section 8 of the urban water management plan presents the city's water shortage contingency plan. It describes how the city will react in case of water shortage, and given that we're in a drought, it's important to have this. It shows you how the city's roadmap and how the city would proceed with various levels of shortage. Because of your excellent planning with the groundwater supply, the city's in a very good shape, and major shortages are not expected as long as San Francisco can deliver. And the water shortage, if you go dig into the details of it, it shows various stages and representing various percentages of reduction. And it shows how activities the city could do to achieve those reductions in water use. And it's a stage-by-stage program. And the demand management measures and supply augmentation is part of this. You already have a water waste prevention ordinance. All of your water is metered. You have created conservation pricing. You have lower pricing for water that's comes out of the ground, which is substantially less expensive for the city than water purchased from SFPUC. So you have a conservation pricing message in everyone's bill every month, every 2 months. You have ongoing public education and outreach. You have programs to manage distribution system losses. You have a staff that has a well-run water system. If they see a loss, if they have a loss reported, as you probably have noticed, they're out there on top of it, doing repairs, addressing problems. You have water conservation program, and through BAUSCA, you have some rebate programs to encourage people to accelerate things like buying a new dishwasher or washing machine. And next slide, I think we're near the end. So the stages here now, you're going to have a public hearing on this. The public notification has already occurred. The public hearing will come, and then there's a resolution before you to adopt both the urban water management plan and, as part of it, the water shortage contingency plan. Once the adoption has taken place, that plan, your urban water management plan, will be posted with DWR. It's available through the state library, and it's also linked through the city's website. And then there's an implementation stage, which includes annual water loss reporting, an annual assessment of the water system, implementing the water supply shortage contingency plan is necessary, and having the demand management methods available so that you can work with your citizenry to maintain their wonderful record on water conservation and water use. And Marissa and I would be pleased to take questions.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Mr. Faust. I think it's so important to see where we're at and where we're headed in regards to this. And you hit it on the nail that our community members really do well in conserving water, and they've continued to do so. And so that's something I want to say thank you to the residents and and conserving water and seeing where we're at. We need to continue to do so. And so if there's any questions from my colleagues at this time, please let me know.
Madam Mayor?
Councilmember Di Giovanni.
Yeah, it's more like a comment. It's good to see that where they include like the population growth and how we go. And Director Piccolotti, you always do an outstanding job with your crew and your staff members and Mr. Krause and Mr. Cosgrove and everyone. And this firm that did this presentation, you're right, Mayor, shows a lot about our residents and their conservation and caring about the environment and what they use, but also proves that our city has a plan, and which he commended us on, and that says a lot about our staff, commended on them and how their forethought goes into everything for the city and for what is best for us. So I want to thank you for that. And as we move forward and implement what we perceive to be part of our environment and the responsibility, it's duly noted, very proud that we're Daly City, and thank you, Mr. Feist, to point those things out in Daly City that we are doing. And it's good to see it like in front of us so that the residents know that that with the growth, we can still conserve. And I saw how the non-potable water and what can be used, and appreciate it. So thank you very much, and especially to Director Piccolotti, and your staff is pretty amazing, and the education you give to the public and always keeping us abreast of what's going on and the new things that are happening. So thank you very much, and thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you all appreciate it. Thank you, and thank you to the residents.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions from my colleagues? Seeing none at this point, motion to open public comment, please. move to open public comment. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Ramos, is there any public comment at this time?
For those members of the public who wish to comment on item number 13, please click the raise hand feature to speak on that agenda item. No raise hands, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
I have a first.
Second.
Second, thank you very much. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you very much. Now moving on to the,
Madam Mayor, if we may have a roll call on this item.
oh, sure. May we have a roll call, please?
Mr.
Make a-
Buenaventura,
Oh, we have to make a motion first. I make the motion.
Oh, yes.
I
Second.
second.
Okay,
Mr. Buenaventura,
Aye.
Dr. Rod,
Aye.
Ms. Di Giovanni,
Aye.
Mr. Sylvester,
Glenn Sylvester, aye.
Ms. Manalo.
Aye, thank you very much. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you for all your hard work, Director Piccoletti, and your staff, and all of the consultants, Mr. Feist, for your presentation. I know it's so important to make sure that we look and forecast and all the hard work that your team has done. So thank you.
Thank you, and thank the council, city manager, and the entire staff for their efforts on this long-awaited 5-year plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Wonderful job, everyone. To City Manager Maltby, to City Attorney Zimmerman as well for your work on this. Thank you. Now moving on to item number 14. Item number 14, public hearing on proposed rate increase for solid waste collection and disposal for fiscal years 2022 and 2023. We have Director Nevin.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. I'm Amanda Halber. I'm a management analyst for Daly City's Department of Finance and Administrative Services. Tonight, I'll be presenting for Director Nevin. I'm just going to share my screen for the presentation that I have for you. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, we see it.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Halber.
Okay, so for tonight, I'll be presenting to you on behalf of Director Nevin for your approval, the solid waste rate adjustments for fiscal year 2022 and 2023. I acknowledge that this is a sensitive subject due to the ongoing pandemic. However, rate adjustments are needed to meet increasing costs associated to the collection of solid waste. We do have Travis Armstrong from Republic Services with us tonight. Public Services is our solid waste and recycling provider for Daly City, and he'll be here to help answer any questions you may have. In 2015, the council adopted a resolution for a 15-year franchise agreement with Republic Services effective February 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2031. This agreement states that Republic Services has the exclusive rights to provide solid waste and recycling services to Daly City, Broadmoor, and Colma. The agreement provides for rate adjustments to be conducted every 2 years for a total of 8 rate periods. On March 1st, 2021, Republic Services formally requested a rate adjustment per the franchise agreement for rate period 4, which will begin July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2023. Currently, there are 23,506 active accounts. 95% of all accounts use either the 32-gallon cart or the 64-gallon cart. The table before you shows the changes in overall costs between rate cycle 3 and rate cycle 4. The base collection cost and alternative services costs were both increased by 4.5% based off of the 2-year CPI increase per the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. The used container savings and 2-year recovery of Westlake Village billing error were both completed in rate cycle 3 and are not factored into the rate for cycle 4. There was no increase for the 5-year recovery of rate cycle 2 shortfall. The post-collection cost, which includes transport, process, and disposal costs of all waste, organic, and recyclables, was increased by 20.5%. The amount to be collected is estimated to have increased by 3,000 tons with an overall cost increase of $745,000. Consulting services were not utilized for the rate cycle 4, therefore there are no costs to recover. The transfer station closure fee, which helps towards helping maintain Muscle Rock's various maintenance projects, increased by 4% per the franchise agreement. The city accounting clerk and city contract manager increased by 5.7%, which was a blended percentage of a 3% salary increase, which council previously approved by MOU and resolution, and a 5% benefit increase. The city billing service charge was also increased by the 4.5% 2-year CPI rates. All of these increases result in a revenue requirement total of $23.58 million, or 8.1% increase for rate cycle 4 spanning the next 2 fiscal years. The franchise fee will see an 8.1% increase as well. This is because the franchise fee is a direct percentage of the overall revenue requirements. This revenue goes to the general fund to help offset any city costs for other solid waste maintenance needs. In fiscal year 2020, the council approved an 11.4% rate increase for rate cycle 3 spanning fiscal year 2020 and 2021. For single family cart services, the current rate for a 32-gallon cart is $31.31. For the 64-gallon cart, it is currently $62.62 and $93.93 for the 96-gallon cart. The proposed rate increase to take effect on July 1st, 2021 will be an 8.1% increase, or an increase of $2.54 per month for the 32-gallon cart, which will affect 84% of accounts shown in the previous slide. There is a $5.07 per month increase for the 64-gallon carts and a $7.61 increase per month for the 96-gallon cart for single family cart service. If approved, these rates would be effective July 1st, 2021 and remain in effect until June 30th, 2023. For community outreach, on March 29th, 2021, staff presented the proposed rate increase to the Solid Waste Subcommittee. On April 12th, 2021, Council approved to set a time and date for tonight's public hearing. On April 28th, 2021, Proposition 218 notices were mailed out to all solid waste customers to notify them of the right to submit a protest letter and inform them of the time and date of the public hearing. On May 20th, 2021, the notice of public hearing was published in the Examiner and also posted on the city website. In compliance with Proposition 218, notices of the public hearing were mailed out on April 28th. The notices included the schedule of proposed solid waste rates with detailed instructions that all written protests must be received by the Office of the City Clerk prior to the close of the hearing on June 14th. Out of 24,583 parcels in Daly City, 12,292 protest letters would be needed to stop the rate increase. As of 5 p.m., June 14th, the Office of the City Clerk had received 119 letters, or 0.97% of total parcels. Oops. So this table shows the total protest letters received as of 5 p.m. Every letter was documented by the City Clerk, and Finance has read through each to determine the reasoning for the protest of the adjustments. There was a total of 119 letters submitted to the City Clerk. 84 of those letters, or 70.5% of the letters, cited that they were opposed to the increase. 18 letters stated that they were on a fixed income. 13 believed it was not the right time due to COVID. 3 stated that the service was not satisfactory, and 1 stated that they do not produce enough waste. The map before you shows the number of protest letters received from each neighborhood. Out of the 119 letters received, there were 112 from Daly City addresses, 4 with no addresses provided, 1 from Broadmoor, and 2 from Colma. Before you are the current posted or recently approved monthly rates of 21 cities within San Mateo County. With the proposed rate increase, Daly City would be the 5th lowest rate in the county for the most used 30 to 35 gallon carts, at a rate that is 13% below the county average, or $5.22 less than the average of $39.07 per month. This concludes our presentation. Staff and Republic are available to help answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much for your presentation. At this time, I will ask staff, actually not staff, my colleagues, if they have any further questions. If not, I will proceed to open public comment. I see no hands raised at this time. So I move to approve the opening of our public hearing.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Ramos.
For those members of the public who wish to comment on item number 14, please click the raise hand feature to speak on that agenda item. For those joining by phone, press *9 to raise your hand. No hands are raised, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ramos. And at this time, a motion to close public hearing, please.
So moved. Oh.
Second.
I have a first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Now moving on to this discussion. Thank you very much, Mr. Armstrong, for being here this evening, for any questions that may arise with my colleagues. And so we are now in discussion or questions for staff or Mr. Armstrong.
Madam Mayor.
Councilmember DiGiovanni.
Yeah, is it possible to go back to that chart where it showed that we were the lowest, Ms. Alvar?
Sure, let me pull it up.
Sorry to bother you. Yeah. Great presentation, by the way.
Thank you. Share this for you. Okay.
Okay, so just to review, you said we were number what in the lowest? I can see we're low, which is good.
We're the 5th lowest.
The 5th lowest.
Yes.
Okay. This is important for the public to understand. Okay, all right, thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you, Mr. Armstrong, as well. So that's all I have right now, Madam Mayor. Thank you very much. Thanks, Ms. Oliver.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much for providing that information and in comparison to the other cities in our jurisdiction. Okay, I see there's no further, there are no further hands raised at this time. So at this time, I think it's time to move this along. So if there's no further questions or comments, I move to approve this item on the agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have I have a first and second, so may we have roll call, please?
Mr. Buenaventura,
Aye.
Dr. Rod,
Aye.
Ms. Di Giovanni,
Aye.
Mr. Sylvester,
Lester, aye.
Ms. Manalo.
Aye, thank you very much. Motion. And thank you for the presentation and thank you for being here, Mr. Armstrong. We are now moving on to public appearances and oral communications. At this time, before we move on to public comment, I would like to take this opportunity to follow up on the city's most recent press release regarding the officer-involved shooting of Roger Allen. To confirm, the city has hired an outside investigator who has already begun the administrative investigation into this incident. Regarding the criminal investigation into this matter, the city is awaiting a response from the Office of the Attorney General regarding our request that the Attorney General conduct a criminal investigation, which would be separate from an independent of the San Mateo County District Attorney's criminal investigation. It is our goal to provide transparent and up-to-date information to the public on this matter. And so at this time, I will now ask Ms. Ramos to share the process for public comment.
In accordance with the Brown Act laws governing regular meetings, the City Council is not authorized to speak to or take action on any other items in this meeting. Members of the public who wish to comment may click the raise hand feature to raise your hand to speak. For those joining by phone, press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute. It is important to note that staff will announce the name of the last person whose hand was raised upon calling for public comment, and that person will be the last verbal comment. If additional speakers queue up after the last called speaker, the mayor may continue to allow public comment if time allows. Otherwise, public comment may be emailed to cityclerk@dalycity.org to be added to the record and shared with the City Council. When you hear your name called, staff will send you a request to unmute your microphone and you may begin speaking. Each person will receive a maximum of 2 minutes to speak and may only speak once. When your 2 minutes have been reached, we ask that you wrap up your comments. Speakers not in compliance with the council's rules of decorum will be muted. Anyone wishing to speak and provide public comment, please use the raise hand feature or *9. No hands raised, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ramos, for that. And now we will be moving on to our appointments. Are there any appointments for board or commission memberships or any committee appointments?
Madam Mayor,
Councilmember Giovanni.
I'd like to reappoint Jack Pastor to the Recreation Commission.
Okay, so you'd like to, okay, we have Jack Pastor for the Recreation Commission.
please.
Okay, so there's a nomination for Jack Pastor back on the Recreation Commission or continuity. So this would be a voice vote, correct?
Yes, please.
We would need a second, and we could do it by voice vote, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so there's a nomination on the floor, and do we have a second?
Second.
Oh, no, I think, did you not, you nominated,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. So there's a nomination on the floor. Is there a second for Mr. Jack Pastor?
Second.
Okay, second with Vice Mayor Das Magual. And then all in favor say aye. Or is it roll call voice? Voice vote.
Voice vote is my motion.
All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you very much. Congratulations, Mr. Pastor, for your continued work on the Recreation Commission.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other appointments or on boards and commissions? Seeing no other hands raised at this time, thank you very much. Now moving on to council committee reports. Are there any council committee reports?
Yes, I have one, Mayor.
Please,
I attended, thank you. I attended the last Peninsula Clean Energy meeting end of last month. We talked about the nomination of 2 Citizen Advisory Committee members that were brought on. We also talked about an electronic vehicle ready program and this proposed target of increasing new EV chargers up to like 3,500, but also creating infrastructure where you can have advanced technical assistance and a workforce training program that will work in conjunction within this proposal to get San Mateo County to be more EV ready. And that's about it for me.
That's very exciting. Thank you for that update. We need to make sure that we have more ways to use clean energy for the future of our community and now, right? So thank you so much for that. Any other committee reports, please? No other, there's no other committee reports, seeing none. Moving on to city council reports.
Madam Mayor.
Councilmember DiGiovanni.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to repeat a lot that some of you were there as well. On Saturday, attended the Pacific Islands Together at the county fair. It was Pacific Islands Day along with Councilmember Sylvester and Mayor Manalo. It was a great celebration. It's the 2nd annual one they had, and I'm sure they'll like to add as well. We were joined by, which was great, elected officials from Pacifica, South City, and Colma as well. So it was a great representation of having our North County together, which I thought that was fantastic. Great music. Thanks to the executive board with Teresa Fapua, Miss Reina, Dr. Phil, Ruthie, and everyone. The music was fantastic. They began with the cultural, and our city manager was there with her lovely mother, which was great to see. And we got to sit in the shade and enjoy it for a while. And we began with prayer in the morning, and it was beautiful. On Sunday, we attended the Mayor Manalo was there, and myself, along with Jefferson Elementary School District, Clayton Koo. We attended the Medihill LPGA tournament here in Daly City. very exciting. Actually, the weather was pretty great in the beginning, and the fog didn't roll back in until later in the evening as they finished. And I'm sure the mayor may add as well. It was great. The first winner from Finland ever, which was fantastic. And so it was really great to see. Not open to the public this time, but looking forward to it when it returns. Here in Daly City, we have a lot to be proud of, thanks to the city manager and the staff and everybody at Lake Merced. The weather was not as cold as the last time that the mayor was there before, but it held out and we were there till the end. And so fantastic. And every day being a first from Finland was fantastic. The young lady from Redwood City was playing and she actually did pretty well. So looking forward to see her in the future. I believe she's 19 years old. And there was another girl named, I think, Lucy Lee. She is also, I thought, from Redwood Shores. She is also 19 years old. So looking forward to the next one. I don't think it'll be next year, but they'll bring it back after the course is redone. And great that this happens in Daly City, to have this LPGA ongoing, and that they have great council support here in Daly City. And thank you, Mayor. The mayor gave the lady, and she will tell you her pin as a part of our Daly City, but I'll let her explain it. So it was fantastic, and looking forward to more in Daly City. Thank you for all your support, Shauna, and working with them with the LPGA. Great things are happening here in Daly City. Thank you, and I yield to the mayor and Mr. Sylvester or whomever. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember G. Giovanni, for your city council update. I'm looking at my other colleagues to see if there are any other city council updates at this time. Seeing none, I do want to say thank you very much to staff. At this moment, I will have I will ask my colleagues at this time for a 2-minute recess, or a 2-minute recess at this time, if it's possible. My computer will go off, and so I need to get my charger. So I really need 2 minutes, and at this time, if it's possible. So a point of personal privilege at this time, if you just afford me 2 minutes. I'll be back in about 2 minutes, 8:42. Thank you so much. didn't want my computer to just have no battery and I would be lost off the screen. So I really appreciate that. And so we are now at City Council reports. I do want to say thank you to staff for having the Memorial Day commemoration or memorial with our DCPD and firefighters and staff honoring those who have passed and lost their lives for our freedoms that we have now. It was with our VFW Post 8750, and it was really being able to pay honor and tribute to those who lost their lives in battle, and also those honored those post members of VFW Post 8750 that have recently passed away. Also, on June 1, in lieu of us celebrating Pride Month, we raised the Progress Pride flag for the very first time in Daly City, and that was on June 1st. And on June 7th, continuing what has been started, I think by Supervisor Canepa with the Filipino community in regards to raising the Philippine flag. We are continuing that tradition and was deeply honored to have now the new Consul General, Neil Ferrer, who was our keynote speaker, and appreciate all the council members being there that morning. Of course, with the Filipino Bayanihan Resource Center and our Tita Perla that was able to participate. Although it was very windy, everyone was able to, endure the daily city weather. And, and so thank you very much for all the staff that had put that together and continue to help us celebrate. It was mentioned earlier that yesterday I went to the Mediheal LPGA Championship and was able to see the tournament. And although I think hopefully it'll change in the future when things open up, we know that it's continued to be here in our city, and really wanted to. It was amazing to see that this was the first time that the Finnish woman Matilda Castri won, and so it was very exciting. And was able to congratulate her because she won in our city, and give her one of our city pins in that moment. And I think it's so important to see women athletes in our community, and it's great that younger women can see that as potentially something that they can look forward to in their future. So thank you very much. And I think that's all that I can remember now from that time. Oh, and also Pacific Islanders Together, of course, at the county fair, which was with Pacific Islanders Together. Hosting that, and also being able to see the Samoan church from Daly City, and being able to celebrate with them on Pacific Islands Day with the San Mateo County. And so I think things are moving in a direction where, if folks are watching out there, please continue to get your vaccine if you haven't. We've seen how this does work in our communities. We see that there's less cases. And so right now, I think from last Friday, we're at over 75% in Daly City. And so that's something that we should all be proud of, but we should continue to urge our friends and family that have not been vaccinated because it will help everyone. So thank you very much for that. And now at this time, I will ask if staff has any updates or anything to share at this point. City Manager Maltby.
Thank you for the opportunity, Madam Mayor. Nothing to report today. Just a reminder that in August, the council meetings will go dark in August. So we will not have council meetings in August. So we'll probably have some packed meetings in July so that business is covered regardless of the going dark in August. So just wanted to mention that.
Thank you very much, Ms. Maltby, for that update. We'll keep that in mind, and that we'll have full meetings in July. And that also reminds me to share with the community that we will be having an opportunity for small businesses and residents to provide input on our local recovery plan of resources that we will allocate for the community in response to COVID-19. And so that will be coming down the pipeline. Yeah, so thank you so much for all your work. Thank you, Ms. Maltby, also City Attorney Rose Zimmerman, and all of the city staff. I think it's been a year and so with so much change, but I think light is at the end of the tunnel around where things are moving. So commend every single staff person that has been there in each department, and things are looking better ahead in regards to our recovery. So thank you very much. Okay, so at this point, we will now adjourn in memory. I have Council Member Sylvester. You have the floor. Council Member Sylvester, you are on mute.
Great, got it. Thank you so much. As National Police Week 2021 is drawing to a close, I want to let folks provide a little history. In 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day. And the calendar week, which commenced May 15th, which it falls as National Police Week. It was established by a joint resolution of Congress in 1962, and National Police Week pays special recognition to those law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others. 2021 is going to go down as one of the worst years for law enforcement officers. 394 law enforcement officers died in the line of duty since 1911, and they have been etched in the National Memorial downtown. Of those deaths, 182, which is approximately over half, were COVID related. 99 died as far back as 1911, and their sacrifice is only now being recognized. Just a point to know, according to the CEO, Marsha Ferranto, who's the CEO of the National Law Enforcement Memorial Fund, she indicates that officers who died related to COVID put themselves and their families at risk because they didn't have the privilege of sheltering in place like the broader community. They did their duty, she said. Next in line, I would like to adjourn in memory of Ashley Tianson. Apparently this young man on Saturday, May 15th, he was at a location in San Mateo County picking up his girlfriend, and they attempted to steal his vehicle. And with guns, the two subjects who were later apprehended, they fired into the vehicle and thus taking his life while he was trying to protect his girlfriend. So I'd like to also adjourn in memory of Mr. Ashley Tiansen. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Sylvester. At this point, I will adjourn with a heavy heart with Alexander Justin De Leon Eason. Alexander Justin AJ De Leon Eason was a miracle baby. His parents, Eric and Maria, were blessed with him after undergoing multiple rounds of IVF. He was everything they could have ever hoped for in a child. He was happy and strong, curious, outgoing, and playful. And most of all, he was loving. He often leaned into people to share a forehead touch, which was his way of showing affection. And he was loved immensely, not just by his parents, but by anyone who had the pleasure of meeting him. The pandemic shutdown started when he was just a couple of months old, but AJ and his parents were happy to spend that time together in their home. Unfortunately, in October 2020, when AJ was just a few days shy of turning 9 months old, he was diagnosed with multiple rare forms of leukemia. His family began working with the Asian American Donor Program to help find a matched bone marrow or stem cell donor, which AJ would need for a full cure. In the following months, AJ underwent multiple different chemotherapies in an attempt to find a treatment that would bring his disease into remission. Through it all, he remained the happy and smiling boy he always was. His resilience and determination was an inspiration to his family, friends, medical team, and everyone who followed his story. But his cancer proved extremely resistant. As time passed and more cycles of treatment were tried, AJ's chances of reaching remission grew slimmer. During his 6th chemotherapy cycle, his doctors determined that further treatments would be more likely to harm AJ than they were to help him. He was brought home for hospice care at the end of May 2021. His family did their best to make the most of his remaining time. Family and friends who had not been able to see him because of the pandemic or his hospitalization were finally able to visit. AJ continued to charm everyone with his infectious smile and cheerful personality until the very end. Alexander Justin De Leon Eason passed away at home in his mother's arms on June 10th, 2021. He was 17 months old. His parents will love and miss him every day. They will hold his memory close to their hearts forever. AJ's lasting impact to the world might be more than 10,000 volunteers that registered to be bone marrow donors after hearing about him. Many registered in hopes of helping him specifically. While AJ was not able to achieve his remission in order to be able to advance to transplant, it is his parents' hopes that volunteers will still donate to anyone else who may need a bone marrow or stem cell transplant if they are asked. AJ's parents, Eric and Maria, thank you for the honor and privilege of sharing the story of their son's journey with all of you. Also, we will adjourn in memory to George Dumandan, Daly City PD's records clerk, to Grace Dumandan's brother-in-law. And also, we will adjourn in memory with Kevin Cohen, Department of Wastewater Plant Operator 2. Kevin J. Cohen, Plant Operator 2, the Department of Waste and Water Resources. He was born on September 25th, 1962 to June 12th, 2021. He was 58 years old. He is survived by his daughter, Anna Lee, both of his parents, and a brother. At this time, may we all have a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Everyone be safe and take care.